Hello, welcome to another video. And I'm going to talk about something that somehow I missed for my entire life. And that would be the Indiana Jones series. I admit I have never watched any of the Indiana Jones movies in my life. Maybe I've seen like little clips and whatnot from like if my dad was watching it on the couch in the living room type of thing. But other than that, I had never actually sat down and watch the Indiana Jones movies, mainly because anytime they came out, it was just didn't work with how old I am. The first trilogy is like almost 10 years older than me from when the last one came out. I was about 10 when the fourth one came out. I have not seen the fourth or fifth one yet, mind you. I've only watched the main trilogy. I feel like that's the set of movies that people really hold into, high regard. The other two just kind of seem like they made them because it was Indiana Jones and they wanted to, kind of thing. But with the release of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I am very, very likely to be recording and playing while you watch this video, I figured I should, learn the lore, learn a little bit about Indiana Jones, do something with it, because I'd be going into the game completely blind. So I decided to binge those three movies all in a row. And what I can say is that I can't believe I missed out on this series, this trilogy, because it actually is just, it's so fun, is how I would describe it. Obviously, the movies are like outlandish and, kind of crazy, whatever, but they don't really care at all. They try to be they know what they're doing and they do it to their fullest. Just action packed, fun tomfoolery. And that's it. And it's a different kind of action, I would say. While I was watching, I want to say near the end of the first one, I kind of had the thought of like, damn, like they took this a long way with just like practical effects. All power to them. It's also the 80s, so like there really wasn't that much CGI, if any, at that point. So simpler sometimes does mean better. And my God, with Indiana Jones, it just looked so fun. Everything with it. The set pieces, there's so many set pieces and everything. And with all that being said, it's crazy that they haven't made like a big budget Indiana Jones games really yet. I know that they've made some, and the Lego ones are probably the most successful, which is pretty crazy because you look at like a game series like Uncharted, where it is borderline just like more guns, action, Indiana Jones, like a modern day Indiana Jones type of thing. So it does feel very crazy that they haven't tried a big budget Indiana Jones game in the vein of Uncharted. And I remember I was someone that had this thought too of seeing the gameplay trailers and everything for the game that it looks kind of meh. Why didn't they make this third person? Because Indiana Jones, it just feels like it would be perfect for third person. All the reviews and everything say it's, really good, really fun, feels like Indiana Jones, which probably at the end of the day is a good thing that they didn't just kind of make a clone of the Uncharted series, but just slapped Indiana Jones on it and just tweaked it in certain ways. It's much better that they're making it their own in some ways. But I was pretty taken aback watching the first movie because there were so many points in the movie where I was like, oh, this is the final part. Oh, this is probably the final part. And it just kind of kept going and building off of each other, which, I mean, if I'm going to rank these three movies, I think this is quite easily definitive. The first one is by far the best, in my opinion. I think in most people's. Great movie, beginning to end. I would have the third movie, The Last Crusade, as my second one. I would say it's not as good as the first movie, but it does feel more like the first movie, and it's got like that fun kind of adventure-esque behind it. Seems like a good time. It seems very Indiana Jones, like the first movie. And then I'd say the I'd say the second movie is probably my least liked of the main trilogy. I liked all of them, don't get me wrong. But for whatever reason, it just felt like almost like a side quest. I know it's a prequel to the first one. I had to look that up after like the first few minutes because I was kind of like, what the hell is going on? And that's another thing with these movies, that each one is very like its own movie. There's not that much carryover in them at all, really. And that's really apparent when they have the prequel. And then you look back at the first one and you're like, nothing is ever really brought up about that. The characters and stuff are not in it really at all. A lot of the characters in the first movie aren't in the prequel one basically at all. It's its own kind of just goofy, more out there kind of side story is how I would describe it. Still a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I still like the characters, everything like that. I just didn't think it was as good as the other two. But yeah, that first movie might honestly be one of the best movies I've seen. Like, I know it's crazy. Like, I've watched more like 80s, 70s, 80s kind of movies recently within the last probably 2 years. Like, I watched Blade Runner for the first time not that long ago, and I was like, what have I been missing? But I have not seen the fourth or the fifth one. The fifth one just came out like a year ago, or like even more recent than that. And obviously it's still Harrison Ford. He's definitely a lot older than he was back in the trilogy. And I've heard that they're still fine, but they're obviously not, on the same pedestal as the first three. I'll be honest, it's going to have to be rebooted, you'd think. And I wonder how that's really going to go, because it's like, do you just retell the same story? Do you do other stuff with a different Indiana Jones? Which that would probably be my say, is, you just branch and create a completely different thing. This one is always going to be, the main one. But then you have, because, Harrison Ford, I don't know how he did the recent one, but he literally, there's no way in hell he can do any more future Indiana Jones ones unless they do something with it's like his kid and stuff like that. I don't really know. That'd be kind of weird. I'm just kind of rambling about something that probably doesn't really matter. But this all ties back to the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I've only heard great things about it. I'll say going into it, I started to have a lot of less hype for this game. I was kind of, on the fence on how much I'm really going to enjoy it, see more puzzle driven, stuff like that. Stuff that I am usually absolutely terrible at and absolutely hate. If I ever get a headache in a video game, it's usually because I'm standing in a room and I don't know how to progress. It's crazy. I can fucking slam my head against a wall against an Elden Ring boss or something for hours and not get like a deep headache. But if I'm in like a puzzle and I'm stuck for like 8 minutes, I'm like sitting there just seething. It's something's up with me. But now after watching the movies and watching the reviews and whatnot of the game, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. It looks a lot more interesting. It looks kind of hilarious also at the same time. So expect a video of that. I don't think I'm going to do a full playthrough, but I think I'll do like a cut up video and whatnot and just give my thoughts of the game and everything. But I don't know. I binged Indiana Jones and I wanted to talk about it because I can't believe I actually like completely missed it. If you have not watched the old Indiana Jones movies, do yourself a favor, go back in time and just watch them, because you just sit there on the couch and you're like smiling 80% of the time just because it's just such a fun time. It's just a pure joy to watch Indiana Jones. But that is all that I have to say and rant about today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and start subscribing. Comment your thoughts on the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Your thoughts on that and the original trilogy of Indiana Jones. If your favorite movie is the same one as mine, I think most people it probably is. But if it's different, I'd love to hear. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.